Hello, I'm Jason. Today I'd like to present the 0330 stable, a stool table, that I made for Thematic Studio 1 at Aalto University. This all started out when we were presented with a theme called connectedness, and I decided on social connectedness, particularly in the living room, because I have multiple experiences of problems that I found that I think could have awesome products to solve. Um, Try to relate to me. I had a bunch of friends coming over the other day, and a few of them ended up sitting on the floor because I didn't have enough seats to accommodate all of them. And so what I ended up doing was I grabbed seats from my work table or from my kitchen, and they just kind of huddled all in there, and it didn't really look that nice. It didn't feel that nice. It didn't feel natural or inviting. Um, so Obviously, a stool might be a good way to start, and that is exactly the angle which I took. Stools traditionally, they of course offer the practicality of giving more seating, but when they aren't used, they kind of sit in the corner of your room and they collect dust. Of course, this is very nuanced. There are stools that do look nice when they aren't used, but I feel like there is a chance here to kill two birds with one stone, as in creating stools that actually are practical, but when they aren't used, they either offer a different functionality or they are also aesthetically pleasing or comfortable to the eye. In this way, they can live in your living room as if they are definitely a part of it, and it revolves in multiple directions around in your life and overall very comfortable. So my idea was to make two stools that would fit together like this, upside down, downside up, into a tea table where you can put your drinks, food, snacks, or even pots of plants. Some people told me that they would do that. And it would be in your living room, offer the functionality, the practicality, and the aesthetics. So I decided that I would make mine out of wood. Initially, I talked to some workshop masters, my professors, to think about what it would look like, how would it connect, because that was an important part to it. And I ended up with choosing birch. Well, actually, initially I chose spruce, but birch was a much more attractive wood to use because one, it's relatively affordable, and two, it still has attributes of quality, like aesthetic quality to it, such as oak. And we ordered them from Starkip, and they came in long vertical slabs from a tree. And the first thing that I did was prototype how my stool would look like and how I would utilize this wood and cut it so that I don't waste any material. And the first iteration of my prototype looked like this. It was made from cardboard, a banana cardboard box, but it had rounded legs and a rounded seat top. And this is the structure that I finally went with. But the holes that you see there, that was from the cardboard box itself. The next step was thinking how to cut the wood. So I really wanted to make sure that I didn't waste any material as much as possible. And thank God it was possible. As mentioned, it was vertical wooden slabs. It was perfectly dimensioned where I could cut it in half and then cut trapezoidal wooden like sticks basically that then I could glue together. Each had a 5-degree cut, so it was a trapezoid, glued together, and then it would form an arc, and that would be one of the legs. There were 6 legs altogether, 3 legs per stool. This process was sort of anticipated to be hard on my half, and I started out by trying to cut it with one of the machines, but it ended up being not really smooth and not practical because the tools that I had didn't allow me to make very clean cuts. So I made a tool myself that would allow me to do that, and it progressed much more smoothly. Then there was the seats. That was very simple. It was just a square wooden block that then you would make into a circle and curve the edges. And then the the legs themselves, I had to glue them. The gluing process was pretty fun, but a little bit daring, might I say. Instead of clamps, the normal clamps, I used rope-based clamps, so it would wrap around my object, so being the arc leg, and it would just squeeze everything together. So that was very practical, and it worked out perfectly. The last part was actually one of the most difficult, so it was connecting the legs. I had plans. I was gonna make a ridge. I was gonna glue the legs with extra different types of dowels, but in the end, after consulting with multiple professors and pretty much all of the workshop masters, I ended up with keeping it simple. So 5 dowels per leg and glue. And the glue was really strong. I had a plan B where if this didn't work, I would create a tri-beam that would connect all these 3 legs together, but that didn't need to be because the glue and the dowels ended up being very strong. The last changes I did was to do with the finishing on the wood. I tried different finishes. There was wax oil, water-based wax oil. I had multiple different pieces to test on, and I did. I ended up choosing first an oil-based one, but after a few days and consulting with the workshop masters about like what actual practical functionalities I wanted for the stool, a food-grade wax was the choice that I went with because, like I said, you'd put drinks, food, snacks on it. I think the biggest thing I learned throughout this entire process was learning how to use the machines, learning how wood behaves, so natural attributes of wood, and dealing with problems that come up whilst making projects like this. And a few things I would do differently would be planning ahead earlier. So I went very much straight into this project in the first week. That ended up with leading to problems with the connection with the legs, like I mentioned. And had I done it earlier, it would have been much more smooth and solid. I think next time if I do something like this, again, much more planning ahead and more research. More research would have been good. But I ended up with something that I really liked. It looks like this. And somebody said they'd buy it for 14 euros. So I would say it was a success. But yeah, thank you very much.